doing from doing that research, or what would help you to do that research well. Any form of make or break type resources need to be already be secured. So you have to talk about the resources, especially about time, money, access to equipment and software. This is very important, and these issues are related to to the practicalities of your research. For example, you have got 4 months to finish your study, and if the data collection of your research would take about 6 months, so how is it possible to do it, right? So it is out of the practicality level, or out of the practicality range, for example. Or if your research needs money and you have to spend a lot of money on that, and nobody is going to support you, and you do not have enough money to buy the the necessary equipments and the different, for example, giving money to the subjects or participants and the like, how is it possible to do it? And if you need some particular equipments or software and you do not have it, so the research would not be feasible. Therefore, what is important in practicality part is that your project should be feasible, right? The success or failure of your project cannot depend on some resource which you are not yet sure you have access to. It cannot depend on some resource which are not yet sure you have to access, right? So you have to be sure about the practicality aspects, about time, money, access to equipment and the like, before starting doing the research. Another part of the practicalities discussion is project and risk management, right? The risk management. This is also another issue which should be taken into account. In other words, you need to show that you have a clear project plan to tackle your research with. Some key questions to address are here, right? Are as follows. So you should be totally aware of the risk management. Do you have a clear project plan? Are you sure that it is feasible? Are you sure that you can do it in the devoted time, or the that particular time you have, or with that amount of money you have? So you have to consider these key questions. What are the timelines for each phase of the project? The timeline, yes? If your project has got, for example, 2 phases, you have to think about the timeline. How much time do you need for carrying out the research, for example, in the first part, which is the qualitative one? How much time do you need for carrying out the research in the quantitative one? Are the time allocations reasonable or no? For example, if you have allocated 2 years to the first time, for example, is it reasonable based on the research you're going to do, or no, it's too long? What happens if something takes longer than anticipated? It is part of risk management. What would you do if it it takes longer than what you have predicted, right? What will happen? For example, you have predicted, or you have predicted to do your study or carrying out your study in about 4 months, but it takes about 1 year. What would you do? Are you able to stay in that particular country or study? Are you able to be on leave, for example, from the institution you're working in? What happens if you don't get the response rate you expect? For example, you have predicted to collect data from 100 students, but you haven't been able to collect data from this number, and only 30 students have answered your questionnaire, right? What would you do at that time? These are the questions, these are the risk management issues that you should take into account and would affect your whole project. This is a tip. Be honest about the potential difficulties, but show that you are anticipating solutions and workarounds. This is much more impressive to an assessor than an unrealistically optimistic proposal which does not anticipate any challenges whatsoever. You should not be, unrealistically or unnaturally optimistic. You have to be honest about the potential difficulties. You have to be honest about, with yourself and with the administrators, with the instructors, and the community in which you're working or the institution in which you're doing your research. So do not be unrealistically optimistic, which does not anticipate any challenges whatsoever. You should not, say that I would not encounter any problem, while doing this research. This is unrealistic. So you have to be honest. Read and simplify. The final step is to edit and proofread your proposal very carefully. After those important sections or ingredients that we have talked about, including introduction, including the literature review and research design or methodology of your study, we are going to talk about some other important elements. So for writing a very good research proposal, you have to read different types of papers and journals and being able to simplify, what you have read and edit them or proofread them, right? While you're writing them down. So the final step is to edit and proofread your proposal very carefully. It sounds obvious, but all too often poor editing and proofreading ruin a good proposal, right? After finishing writing your proposal, you have to edit it, you have to do the revisions and additions, or if you're not able to do that, you can do it. You can, ask somebody else to do it for you, like your supervisor, like the other editors or people who are aware of that topic or knowledgeable enough in that field. Nothing is more off-putting for an assessor than a poorly edited, typo-strewn document, right? It is not good to have a poorly edited document and presented or submitted to your institution. You have to edit it completely. It's very bad to, that would not be good to submit a poorly edited document to your supervisor. It sends the message that you either do not pay attention to detail or just don't care. Both are not good. You have to pay attention to the detail as well. Although the basic elements in writing a proposal are important, but the details are also important. As we say, the mechanics of language or the mechanics of writing, like spelling, punctuation, capitalization, editing, proofreading, and these steps are very important. Neither of these are good messages. Put the effort into editing and proofreading your proposal or pay someone to do it for you, right? It will pay dividends. So you have to pay some money in order to give it to somebody to read it, or you can give it to your, your friend, your colleague, right, your supervisor, and like the people with whom you're working. When you're editing, watch out for academies. Many students can speak simply, passionately, and clearly about their dissertation topic, but become incomprehensible the moment they turn the laptop on, right? Not all people know everything about your dissertation topic. It means that you should not give it to anybody to be edited or corrected. They should be academic people, right? They should be knowledgeable enough. You are not required to write in any kind of a special format, complex language when you write academic work. Sure, there may be technical terms, jargon specific to your discipline, shorthand terms, and so on. But apart from those, keep your written language very close to natural spoken language. Of course, there may be some technical terms, jargon language, and the like in your writing, but keep your written language very close to natural spoken language. Of course, in writing thesis or proposal or paper, we say that it should be written in an academic form. But at the first stages, it's okay if you keep it close to natural spoken language, and later on you can increase the level of the academic level of your writing by editing it, just as you would speak in the classroom. Imagine that it just says that your writing should be simple. Imagine that you are explaining your project plans to your classmates or a family member. Remember, write for the intelligent layman, the normal people who are living in the society but they are intelligent, not just the subject matter expert. Do not think about the experts and use very difficult terms and vocabularies. Plain language, concise writing is what wins hearts and minds and marks, of course. So use plain language and simple language in your writing. Let's recap, repeat or summarize what we have said. Research proposal 1. And there you have it, how to write your dissertation or thesis research proposal from title page to final proof. Your proposal starts from the title page and ends with the final proofreading. Here is a quick recap on the key takeaways. The first one is the purpose of the research proposal is to convince. Convince who? Convince the administrators, professors, organizers of that institution under which you're working. Therefore, you need to make a clear, concise argument of why your research is both worth doing and doable, right? You have to convince the people. So it is very important to convince them that why this research is worth doing. Why should I do that? Why should you spend some money on that? Why should I spend, for example, 1 term or 6 months or 4 months doing this research? And is it doable? Is it practical or not? Make sure you can ask the critical what, who, how questions of your research before you put pen to paper. So before you start doing job, you have to ask these questions from the experts or from the people who know about this issue, who know about researching and writing and these things. So you have to make sure about the critical what, who, and how question. You have to ask it and answer it. Ask it from experts and answer it for yourself. Your research proposal should include at least 5 essential components. Let's see what are those 5 essential components. All right, good. So as you see, the first essential component in your proposal would be your title. As I told you before, this is not right to say, okay, you cannot start with the title and write it down on a piece of paper. For writing a good title, you have to think about the philosophy of your work. Before that, you have to find a particular problem in your field of study. And based on that problem, you have to design a very well-structured research design for your study. Based on that, use different related papers and articles in order to read them and being able to write appropriately or review and actually synthesize what they have written in their related paper and you include them in your literature review. And apart from that, you design your research and write the specific research questions, and apart from that, writing about the subjects of your study, the instrumentation, and the procedures. After that, you would be able to finalize your title, right? So it is not right to just finalize the title first, or better say, it is impossible, right? But sometimes the researchers who are, who are in great hurry or who do not want to spend time on reading and understanding what this a proposal mean. They just ask